Hey guys, so this is MC Gamer coming to you with another quick video, probably not, but I'll try. Yes, Corpsealot. For the past month, people kept shoving this name into my face, and I was like, I know he's there. I watch his videos. And people keep telling me, oh, how about that Corpsealot fellow? Oh, do you know there's this fellow called Corpsealot? He's kind of like you. And I was like, no, he's not. His channel is just, I would say, 90% of his videos are opinion-based. There's nothing wrong with that, okay? I like some of his opinions, of course. I agree with him on many points, but I also disagree with him on many points, because that's how people work, okay? People are different, surprise. And yes, I know about him. I'm not subscribed to him, because I'm currently subscribed to 5 channels, and that's my limit. I'm not going over that limit because I know that I don't have enough time to watch more than 5 YouTubers, okay? So every now and then I will jump onto his channel, I will watch a couple of his videos, and then I will leave. And I either agree with him or disagree with him, no big deal, okay? Sometimes people disagree with each other, that's how opinions work. It doesn't mean that he is wrong or I am wrong, it just means that we have a different opinion. And because people kept asking me about him so bloody much, I will talk about couple of the points that he made that I disagree with, just straight up disagree with. So the first point is that if a game doesn't have world PvP, which is, you know, you running around killing helpless people, killing people that have no way of defending themselves, or just resurging like South Shore PvP, the game doesn't have PvP, so he's saying stuff like Guild Wars 2 doesn't have any PvP, the Elder Scrolls Online doesn't have any PvP, which is factually wrong. That's actually factually wrong. Okay, the definition of PvP, player versus player, it's just players fighting other players, or even one player fighting another player. So even if a game has duels, that's still PvP. Okay, it's not large-scale PvP, but it's still PvP by definition. So, duels, battleground, structured PvP in Guild Wars 2, World v World in Guild Wars 2, Citadel in Elder Scrolls. Now, not to be too critical, in Elder Scrolls, PvP is done very poorly. There is just one zone where you can go, and it doesn't make sense. Okay, in Guild Wars 2, at least it makes sense, where, you know, you're fighting other servers. You know, so you can't fight your own server because you're in a big alliance. But in Guild Wars, in Elder Scrolls Online, you're not in an alliance. There are other people there, and they are making funny faces behind our back. So why not just kick them in the bollocks? You know, it doesn't make sense that, but still there is PvP in Citadel, and he's basically calling Battlegrounds MOBAs, which but MOBA by definition has evolved into something else. You know, it's basically, yeah, it's kind of like Dota. It's a Dota style game, you know, when you say MOBA. So that's that, you know. And battlegrounds are valid. Battlegrounds are PvP. Arenas are PvP. You know, as well as Wintergrass is PvP. People dueling outside of Orgrimmar, that's PvP. Okay, that's PvP. He says that world PvP is just much better than everything else, which I disagree with, because world PvP is, maybe it's fun for half the participants, okay? If I go onto Timeless Isle, it's fun for me to kill noobs around, you know, while farming coins. It's certainly not fun for them. Okay, battlegrounds are usually fun, equally fun for both sides. You know, if you're not against a pre-mint and then they stomp you to the ground. So battlegrounds are equally fun for both sides. You know, equal amount of people usually have the same amount of fun. In World PvP, no. You know, World PvP is me running around Timeless Isle, two-shotting people who are trying to get gear on their shitty boosted characters. That's World PvP. They have no way of defeating me. I am a man, they are an ant. I have a massive magnifying glass. The only way they can survive is to run away. There is no other option. Okay, if there is 5 of those people who are just gearing up on Timeless Isle, I can two-shot them. All of them, I can go 1v5. There is no skill there. I just press F, which dots them up, and then I press R, which starts surges them to death. That's World PvP, okay? And that's about 80 or 90% of what World PvP actually is. It's just ganking, and but a lot of times it's just unfair, straight up unfair. You know, just killing people who just kill an elite, so they are low on health, and they're sitting down, they're drinking, so you have a guaranteed crit. Or is that still in the game? If someone's sitting down, you have a guaranteed crit? I don't know. And next is city raiding, okay? Raiding Stormwind or Orgrimmar, which is no longer possible in WoW, pretty much, because the last time I did it, we were like, oh yeah, we have an army, let's go into Stormwind. So we're in Elven Forest. What we didn't realize is that as soon as we zone into Stormwind, half our raid will disappear because they're from a different realm, and about 100 Alliance troops suddenly appeared on the bridge, out of fucking nowhere. So, yeah, that was not fun. And the last is kind of like the South Shore PvP, which was the biggest shit ever made. Do you ever think about why did it die when Battlegrounds came in? Well, because Battlegrounds were better. South Shore PvP was just, it had no objectives other than just respawn Zerg, okay? You would go there, you would spam AoE, you would die. You would run from the graveyard, and this is why it took place there, because the graveyards were fairly close for both factions. So you would run there, you would pump some AoE, you would die, you would run back, you would respawn, you would pump as much AoE as you can so you can tag a couple of people, you would die, and you would repeat this process over and over and over again. There was no skill required in that. It was just pure fucking chaos. You know, there was no skill. It didn't matter because there was just, 50 people against 50 people. The game ran at about 5 FPS. The server was incredibly laggy because of that, and it was just shit. This is why when Battlegrounds came in, people started doing Battlegrounds, because South Shore PvP was the biggest shit I had the pleasure to do. Okay? It was not good. It was just bad. It was just straight up bad. It was a respawn Zerg. Just go and find a video on YouTube about South Shore PvP. You will see a mage running around spamming Arcane Blast or Arcane Nova, whatever fuck it's called, Arcane Explosion. He'll just run around, spam this one spell, then die, run back, respawn, spam spell, die, run back, respawn, spam one spell, die, respawn. You know, that kind of thing. It was not fun. It was just a Zerg. And we were doing it because we had nothing else. There was nothing in the game for us to do, so we just did that, you know, because it was the only thing apart from dungeons and raids. Mostly dungeons in the beginning. Now, I'm not saying that it was only bad, that there was nothing good about it. By the time you reached level 60, you would have been ganked so many bloody times that you would hate everything with a red text above its head and you want to kill it. You know, which is why it all started. You know, someone was a douchebag, the other people didn't like it, so as soon as they reached level 60, they wanted to do the same thing, and, you know, people kept doing it, and that's how it happened. So you would hate the other faction by the time you reached level 60, which was good, and it also added a sense of danger to the zones where you can be attacked at any given time. You know, there the contested territory was actually a thing. You know, if you're in contested territory, you need to be on your toes. You need to look around because you can be killed at any given time by the opposing faction. So that was good. Another point that I heartily disagree with is that Pandaria bosses are not harder than vanilla bosses. They are just more complicated. No. Just look back at Molten Core, take off your rose-tinted goggles, and tell me, how is Molten Core as difficult as Siege of Orgrimmar? Molten Core, raid instance for 40 people. Bosses were designed for about 20. Yes, bosses in Molten Core, a raid instance for 40 people, were tuned for about 20. So if you had 20 people who kinda knew what they are doing and were capable of pressing that one button pretty much every class had to do DPS, you would down everything, including Ragnaros, I must say. Okay, the problem there was that people were shit, people sucked. Okay? As I've said, classes had one button to press, and you can do kinda okay DPS, and people still managed to fuck it up. Okay? That kind of level of player skill was involved there. People were shit, people had no idea what they're doing. Right now, people know everything. The bosses are more difficult. They are. If you take 10 Molten Core Raiders and you throw them into Siege of Orgrimmar, they won't kill Immersius. They won't, because it's new, it has too many abilities, and it's too difficult. You have to do things. In Molten Core, you kinda don't. You remember that boss where mages have to dispel? Oh my god, so difficult. No. bosses had one ability, and people were so shit that they couldn't handle that ability. That was vanilla. And it didn't matter because people were shit. Everyone was shit. No one was good. Just look at the PvP videos. If someone is winning, it's because he have a massive axe he got by being carried through Blackwing Lair. And carrying people still was that, even in Naxxramas. 5, maybe even more people were still carried through Naxxramas. Simple as that. And these are the two major points that I disagree with. You know, world PvP being better than Battlegrounds. Just, I think not. I think that's just not true. And vanilla being actually harder as far as bosses go than Pandaria. Yes, it was harder to get gear. It was harder to get into instances, and attunement quests were actually pretty awesome. But the bosses themselves, no. Some of the Thrash packs in Siege of Orgrimmar are more difficult than Molten Core bosses. Simple as that. So stop telling me that there is this guy called Corpsealot, because I know about him. I watch his videos.